What if everything you've ever been taught about finding happiness is, well, wrong? That's really the big question at the heart of Hermann Hesse's incredible novel, Siddhartha. It's this timeless story, this epic journey of one man trying to find true enlightenment in a world that's just overflowing with easy answers, strict rules, and endless distractions. So, we're going to follow Siddhartha through 6 really distinct stages of his life. We'll start with him as this privileged young man who's filled with doubt, and we'll end with him finding wisdom in the last place you'd ever expect. And as you'll see, every single detour, every so-called wrong turn, is absolutely crucial for his final awakening. All right, so let's jump in at the very beginning. We meet Siddhartha, and on paper, his life is perfect. He's the son of a Brahmin, which is the Hindu priestly class. He's smart, he's handsome, everybody loves him, and he's already a master of all the holy scriptures. But despite all of that, something on the inside is just off. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. Even though he has everything anyone could ever want, he can't find joy inside himself. There's this deep spiritual thirst that none of the rituals or the teachings of his family can satisfy. It's this restlessness telling him that the real truth has got to be somewhere else. To really understand his journey, you have to appreciate what he's giving up. I mean, this isn't just a kid leaving home. He is throwing away a guaranteed future of respect, comfort, and power. He's sacrificing absolutely everything he knows just to find the one thing he's missing, real inner peace. So, Siddhartha leaves home with his best friend Govinda, and he's completely convinced that the answer has to come from some external source, from a teacher. He figures if he can just find the right system, whether it's through extreme discipline or some perfect philosophy, he can basically force his way into enlightenment. And he tries 2 totally different paths. First, he joins the samanas. These guys are wandering ascetics who practice the most extreme self-denial you can imagine, starving themselves, ignoring pain, all in an attempt to just destroy the self. But he finds out that's just a temporary fix. Then he meets the actual enlightened Buddha, Gautama, whose teachings are brilliant, logical, and perfect. But even that, it just doesn't feel right for him. This leads him to a huge, game-changing realization. He doesn't doubt for a second that the Buddha is enlightened, but he gets that the Buddha found enlightenment through his own unique, personal experience, not by following somebody else's rules. And that's when Siddhartha understands. Wisdom can't be poured into your head like a lesson in school. It has to be lived. So he makes this really radical move. He leaves everyone behind, even his lifelong friend Govinda. He decides that from this point on, his only teacher is going to be the world itself. The world of the senses, the very thing that, as an ascetic, he had spent years trying to ignore and overcome. He walks into this new life with only 3 skills, which he proudly lists for the famous courtesan, Kamala. What's so interesting here is his confidence. He actually believes that these spiritual disciplines he learned, thinking, waiting, and fasting, have perfectly prepared him to go out and conquer the material world. And for many, many years, he dives right in. Kamala teaches him all about love and physical pleasure, while a rich merchant named Kamaswami teaches him the ins and outs of business and wealth. For the very first time in his life, Siddhartha isn't just an observer anymore. He's a player in the game of life. But just like his spiritual life started to feel hollow, his material life eventually does too. After years of piling up wealth, pleasure, and success, he starts to feel trapped. The game just isn't fun anymore. It's lost all its meaning. He has this dawning horror that he's gotten himself caught in samsara, a worldly version of that cycle of desire, greed, and boredom. He starts gambling, drinking, he becomes lazy, irritable. That bright, curious spirit of the seeker is slowly but surely dying inside him. And it's his lover, Kamala, who sees it with perfect clarity. She tells him that even though he's surrounded by people and pleasure, he's never really connected with any of it. He's just been playing a role. His heart has stayed on the sidelines, totally unable to truly love. At his core, he's still an outsider looking in. This realization just completely crushes him. He's disgusted with the person he's become. So he just walks away from it all. His wealth, his home, Kamala. He wanders to a river and seriously thinks about ending his own life. This is his absolute lowest point. And it's right here, at the edge of total despair, that he finally finds the teacher he's been searching for his whole life. And it's not a person, it's not a book, and it's not some grand philosophy, it's the river. He meets a simple ferryman, actually the very same man who helped him cross years ago. And this very man becomes his new guide. He doesn't offer any complicated theories, just this simple, profound piece of advice. And for Siddhartha, this changes everything. So Siddhartha stops trying to find an answer, and instead he just learns to listen. By just watching the river, day in and day out, he starts to understand its deepest secrets. He sees how the past, the present, and the future all exist at the exact same time. He sees that all of life just flows together in one single, unified stream. And by living and working by that river, Siddhartha's awareness finally expands into full enlightenment. The wisdom he was so desperately seeking from other people was actually inside him and all around him the entire time. As he listens to the river's thousands of different voices, the sound of laughter, the sound of crying, of birth and death, he hears them all merge together into one single perfect word, Om. It's the sound of total unity, the sound of the universe itself, confirming that everything is connected and everything is whole. So what is this ultimate awakening? It's the realization that he can finally stop judging the world. He doesn't see a sinner as being separate from a saint anymore, or a wise person from a fool. He understands that everything, every single person, every action, every rock in the river, is a necessary and perfect part of one single unified whole. Ultimately, Siddhartha's journey leaves us with this really powerful question, doesn't it? His time as a rich pleasure seeker was just as important as his time as a starving ascetic. His moments of despair were just as necessary as his moments of joy. What the novel seems to be telling us is that wisdom isn't found by avoiding life, but by diving in and embracing every single part of it. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.